I'm sure you've all heard of off angles at this point. I've talked about them to death on this channel, and you've probably heard other guides and pros talk about them as well. For those of you who aren't aware, an off angle simply refers to an angle that isn't usually cleared because players don't expect you to be there, since it's a bad position to play in due to the fact that you have no cover to fall back to. This is why Jett and Reyna are extremely powerful in off angles, since after they get a kill on an unsuspecting player, they can just instantly get out of the bad position with man advantage. Off angles are great and a pretty well-known concept in the Valorant community. However, there's one type of angle that I don't see anybody talking about, and one that I haven't ever spoken about here on the channel. The type of angle I'm referring to are God angles. A God angle is similar to an off angle, but even stronger and grants you a massive advantage. Better yet, you don't need to be playing Jett or Reyna, who can get out quickly in order to abuse these angles effectively. With that being said, let me explain how they work and some examples that you can use in your games. With a God angle, you are playing in a position that is near impossible for the enemies to clear you in, since they have to clear another more common angle at the same time that they expose themselves to you. On top of this, these positions grant you cover so you can quickly fall back and reposition if you find yourself in a bad situation after getting a kill. One of my favorite God angles that I play a lot is right here on A site split on the right side of back screen. Think about it from the enemy's perspective. They are rushing site and have to clear everything. In this position, they are exposing themselves to you at the exact same time that they would be peeking to clear the corner on site or flower pot. You are abusing the fact that this is not a position that they are able to clear before all of the others. Another great example is this angle in Hell on A site Ascent. The enemies rushing in would be so focused on shutting the door to tree and holding heaven before they would even get the chance to clear Hell, granting you an easy kill on someone who likely isn't even going to be looking at you. And let's say you whiff or don't end up getting a kill playing here, you can just fall back to the left side and reposition behind Dice and look to take another fight with your team. Same goes for the other angle on Split, where you can fall behind the screen and look to take another fight with more cover. These spots are so overpowered, yet I hardly see anybody abusing them or even talking about them. Another great example is this position in Hookah on Bind. You can see the enemies peeking out while they're looking left to clear the close corner, and the kills here are so easy. I use this spot so much. You need to be careful though, because good teams will usually use utility to clear out these positions and flush you out. But if Cypher throws a camera in here, it won't be able to see you as long as they throw it on the wall to your right, because you'll be behind it. You can get really creative with these God angles, and I use them in pretty much every single game that I play. While researching positioning, I found this Twitter thread from former pro turned coach Misfit with screenshots of dozens of these God angles and off angles, so I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out. I've known about angles like these for a while, but I never had a name for them, so credit for the God angle name goes to Misfit. Positioning in itself is a concept that a lot of players looking to improve neglect entirely, and it's something that you must work on if you want to rank up. Players will often chalk up their deaths to bad aim or just getting unlucky, but in reality they're putting themselves in a disadvantageous position and not realizing it. This goes hand in hand with pathing, because you need to have a mental note of what your pathing is going to look like before the round starts. You want to play this spot behind screen? That's great, but where are you repositioning to afterwards? Are you gonna dip behind the screen and try to take another fight from the other side, or re-peek from the right side again? Are you gonna fall back to elbow and hold the sight cross, or peek from the right side? Or are you gonna fall back to CT and regroup with your team for a retake? These are all questions that you need to be asking yourself before the round starts, because otherwise you'll get overwhelmed and not know what to do with your pathing. And your plan can and probably will change mid-round too. Maybe you were going to fall back to elbow to re-peek, but notice the smoke they threw CT sticks out too far, so you can make it back to CT easily and retake with your team instead of continuing to fight on site alone. These are split-second decisions regarding positioning and pathing that most low elo players don't even think about. And the inverse applies if you're attacking as well. Instead of just rushing out on site and face clearing everything, use a Skydog to clear flower pot and sight to ensure that you are safe to flood out. Throw a molly elbow so players can't peek you there or escape if they get stuck on site so they're isolated. Peek with a teammate to trade them out in case they die fighting the site player. You have to think about how you're going to minimize the chances of getting caught off guard when executing a site by using your utility and playing with your team to clear out these players playing in these hard to clear positions.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, can you stun it? One help. Help.
Can someone close door?
I'm holding for someone to push out. They could, can they smoke the lane?
Heaven.
Yeah, they can. They could have timing it too.
One more heaven, lit 40.
One enemy
Door and
remaining.
Jenny, door.
Nice. Well played, gamers.
If you aren't thinking about any of this and just aim training all day hoping to turn into 10s, I'm sorry, but that probably isn't going to happen. Yes, aim is very important and arguably the most important part of Valorant, but that alone isn't going to save you if you're constantly taking bad positions and not thinking about not only positioning, but the enemy's potential positioning as well. So what can we actually learn from all of this? Well, here's what I would do when deciding my positioning and pathing. First, are you going to fight for space early round, or are you going to play on site? There's no correct answer here, and it just depends on what you're comfortable doing and the agent that you're playing. If you're playing a duelist, fighting up early round is not such a bad idea because you have a lot of good utility that can help you doing that. But if you're playing an agent like Killjoy, it's probably better to play on site since you need to stay alive for your utility to be up. And there's always exceptions to this. Don't think that just because you're playing duelist, you have to fight at the beginning of every round, or just because you're on Killjoy, you need to hide and just play super safe all the time. There's exceptions to everything. Next, look at the enemy's team composition and look at what agents they have. Do they have a Sova, a Skye, a Fade, or any agent with a scanning ability? If the answer is no, you can be a lot more reckless with your positioning since they don't really have much utility to clear you out if you're playing in a ratty spot. If they do, which most of the time they will, think about where you're going to play and ask yourself, am I going to get Sova darted or droned here? Would a Skydog see me if I was playing in this position? If the answer is yes, you have two choices here. Either ask a teammate to break the dart or break the drone or dog so you can play there without getting spotted, or just don't play there at all. Instead, play a spot that would be a lot harder for the enemies to clear with the given utility they have. The God angles I showed earlier in the video are all great positions where the utility is hard to clear you, but there are dozens of other ones as well. Once you've found a position that you feel comfortable playing and that you want to play for the round, think about how you're going to reposition after taking contact. There's really no correct answer here, and it's entirely up to what you're comfortable with and up to your judgment. For example, I personally hate playing behind Jen on Ascent. It's a super easy spot to get cleared and flushed out with a molly, so I hardly ever take up this spot, but there's plenty of good players who do play here. I prefer playing Dice, where I have more cover to work with and can easily get back to Hell or behind the left box if I need to. So if I'm playing the God angle in Hell, I know that if I get spotted here or if I'm getting flushed out, I can move behind Dice and look to take another fight with my team. In other words, if they push A, I have a really strong position to fight from and catch an enemy off guard, and I have a good spot to reposition to as well. And I actually don't mind dying trying to fight site here because it will buy my team plenty of time to flood out on the retake and clean up the kills since they were all focused on me. Remember, Valorant is a team game and your teammates are there to trade you and help you. If you have a duo or trio to play with, that's even better because you can rely on them even more. And as long as you're hitting your shots, that's really all there is to it. There's plenty of nuance to this game and each round will be played out entirely different, so I can't really give you a one-size-fits-all approach to playing around, but as you gain more experience, these concepts will become second nature to you. The really good players know all this stuff, but they aren't really consciously thinking about it as much. It's something that's just ingrained in them as a player. Start consciously thinking about your positioning and pathing more, and try out some of these angles in the examples I've shown in this video, and I promise you will improve as a player. If you learned something new or enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like down below and also subscribe to the channel channel if you have not already. I apologize for the slight inactivity on the channel. I want to start posting more videos again for you guys and helping you guys out. I have a Discord linked down in the description below. You should come join up there if you have any questions you want to ask me, and we'd love to have you. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day or night to watch this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.